guy ain't got out of the second round since he started winning MVPs.
I've never seen a disconnect like this where a guy monopolizes the MVP.
He can't jump over a puddle. He runs like he's wearing a weighted vest. And yet, he's the one player NBA superstars secretly fear. How did a chubby kid from Serbia who loved horses more than basketball become the best player alive? Why do stars from Anthony Edwards to LeBron James call him the most unstoppable force in the game?
Nikola Jokic, bro. Oh my God, he might be the best basketball player I've ever seen, like close up.
To understand how we got here, we've got to go back to a tiny apartment in Serbia. Sombor, Serbia. A small town, 2-bedroom apartment, 6 people packed inside. No private courts, no trainers, just a cheap hoop and a family that lived for basketball. But Nikola, he wasn't like his brothers. They were strong, athletic, confident. He was shy, quiet, and chubby. When his dad signed him up for his first practice, Nikola cried. When he finally stepped on the floor, he didn't play like a normal big man. This pudgy 10-year-old, too slow to run a fast break, was throwing passes like a point guard. He wasn't exactly locked in. At 14, Jokic quit. Why? Horses. He spent every afternoon cleaning stalls, dreaming of running a stable instead of an NBA offense. His father pushed him back to the game. Stick with basketball, he said. One day, you might be able to buy your own horses. That choice changed everything. That slow, overweight teenager was about to become the greatest passing big man the game has ever seen. But first, he had to survive the most humiliating draft night in NBA history. Jokic was too good to ignore, but NBA scouts still weren't buying it. They saw a kid with baby fat, 0 hops, and the vertical of a step stool. So when draft night came, he slipped. Then slipped again. By the time Adam Silver reached the 41st pick, ESPN didn't even bother to show it live. Instead, a Taco Bell commercial ran while Nikola Jokic's name was announced. That's how invisible he was, at least to the NBA. And Jokic, he didn't even stay up to watch. Other prospects were pacing, sweating, desperate to hear their name. Nikola was sound asleep in Serbia. Instead of flying to America right away, he stayed in Serbia for another year. That season, he became the Adriatic League MVP at just 19 years old, averaging 16 points, 10 boards, and 3 assists against grown men. By the time he finally came to Denver, he was still overweight, still slow, but something about him was different. He had already learned to play like no one else in the world. What Denver didn't know was the pudgy kid they drafted during a Taco Bell commercial was about to flip their franchise upside down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we've got more deep dives on the NBA's most electrifying stars coming your way. When Jokic arrived in Denver, he wasn't the only young center in town.
There is no doubt that Jokic, the reigning 2-time league MVP, who everybody's gunning for to knock off that pedestal, has answered the call. He's averaging a triple-double.
Jusuf Nurkic, bigger, stronger, more traditional. The front office loved him, and fans loved him. Coach Mike Malone tried the experiment, playing them both together. Disaster. Too slow, too clogged, no spacing. The Nuggets had a choice to make. Stick with the 16th pick they invested in Nurkic, or roll the dice on the pudgy Serbian kid nobody believed in. Behind closed doors, Denver's analytics team ran the numbers. Jokic's per 36 stats lined up almost identically with a legend, Larry Bird. Not another center, not another big, Larry freaking Bird. Denver pulled the trigger. They traded Nurkic and handed the franchise to a second-round pick who still looked like he'd rather be at a horse stable. That gamble changed everything. Freed from the logjam, Jokic unleashed his game. No-look dimes, post-up wizardry, the move that would become his trademark. The off-balance, one-legged fadeaway known as the Sombor Shuffle. It looked awkward. It looked wrong, but it went in over and over again. By 2019, he wasn't just Denver's best player, he was an all-star, a budding superstar. But none of it mattered if his body couldn't keep up. Quick question for you. Who's the most unique superstar you've ever seen? Drop it in the comments. He could pass, he could score, but by the fourth quarter, he was toast. Defenses targeted him. Fans mocked him as too slow, too lazy, and Denver knew if he didn't transform himself, he'd never carry them to a championship. By his third season, the flaws were impossible to ignore. Jokic was brilliant with the ball, but his stamina? Brutal. Defenses hunted him. Fans joked he got tired jogging back on defense. Then, something flipped. Around 2019, he admitted to himself, if I want to be great, I need to change everything. He cut the Coca-Cola, dropped the Bureks. For the first time, he trained like a star. The difference was instant. He came to camp slimmer, lighter, faster. The guy who looked stuck in quicksand was suddenly outrunning NBA centers. By 2021, he averaged 26, 11, and 8. He was the most efficient player in basketball. The MVP voters had no choice. Nikola Jokic, the 41st pick, the chubby kid from Sombor, was now the best player in the NBA. Here's the wild part. After winning MVP, he got better. In 2022, he made history as the first player ever to record 2,000 points, 1,000 boards, and 500 assists in a single season.
Yeah.
And yet, he floats in and out of my top 5 at like 5.
Yeah.
He's not in almost anyone's top 3. I've never seen anything like it.
And still, critics tried to poke holes. Empty stats, can't win big in the playoffs. Denver will never win with Jokic as their number 1. Those takes? They were about to age worse than a flat bottle of Coke in the Serbian sun. Anthony Edwards said he's the best player he's ever seen up close. Jason Tatum and Derek White said the Celtics knew they'd win a championship the second Denver got eliminated. That's the Jokic effect. You can do everything right, perfect rotations, double teams, even triple teams, and it still doesn't matter. Jokic will spin into a Sombor shuffle, off one leg, fading sideways from 28 feet, and swish. Here's the kicker. Jokic doesn't care about the spotlight. He says he'd rather be with his horses in Serbia than chasing headlines. What happens when the most unstoppable player alive doesn't even care about being unstoppable? That might be the scariest part of all. 3 MVPs, an NBA championship, a finals MVP, and he's only 30. Nikola Jokic isn't just rewriting the book on centers, he's shredding it. He doesn't rely on speed, he doesn't rely on hops, he doesn't even rely on looking like he cares. And yet, he dominates everyone in front of him. The scary part? His style has no expiration date. His game is built on vision, touch, IQ, things that only get sharper with age. So now the questions shift. How high can his legacy go? Is he already the most unique superstar we've ever seen? Could he retire as the greatest center of all time? Ahead of Kareem, ahead of Hakeem, ahead of Shaq? If you think Jokic is already a top 10 all-timer, smash that like button so more NBA fans can see this debate. Nikola Jokic is proof that basketball greatness doesn't always look the way we expect. He doesn't jump out of the gym. He doesn't flash the swagger of past legends. He doesn't even care if you call him lazy. And yet, every time he steps on the floor, the game bends to his will. That's the Jokic paradox. He's the most unstoppable player alive, and somehow, the least interested in proving it. What happens if the man who already broke basketball chooses to chase greatness the way Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron once did? That answer could define the next decade of NBA history. Let me know in the comments what to expect from Jokic this year. We'll see you next time.